Now we will try to go deeper into statistics, right? In statistics, there are two important parameters which are called the central tendency and the variation. If you can understand the central tendency and the variation in any process, you really can control the process. And so, what is this central tendency and what is this variation we are going to understand? I'm just showing you a ring of fire. What I want is, I want all the white bells here to jump inside the ring of the fire. And then you have to come out on the other side safely. In order to carry out this task, tell me, where will you jump inside the ring of fire? If my question is understood, please try to answer this. All of you must try.
Center of the sun.
Center of the ring.
Okay, so
Center, sir.
Monish as well as Nayan, I could see both are saying center.
First, we need to analyze how much is the height, the ring from the ground level.
Yes,
We need to
correct.
analyze.
Understand.
Then, accordingly, we have to jump.
Very good. Accordingly, where will you jump after analyzing the height? Will you prefer to jump at the center or you will prefer to jump here? Suppose if it is no at the no
Now, in fire is in all the portion is proportion equal. Then I can jump in center.
yeah,
If
yeah,
any side is there, that we can.
perfect. Fire is equal no around the circumference at all the points. It is equal only, and so your option is center. So all of you are able to think better. You're right. All of you are correct. So this is called central tendency. All of us always try to be at the center because we know at the center the risk will be low. The risk is low, so you want to be there. Can you apply the same logic in your business also so that you can hit the target and you can succeed in your effort always? Chance that you can succeed will be very, very high if you run a low risk. All right. And so if I want you to jump, all of you have, imagine you have jumped at the center. Now what I want is, I want you to jump 10 times continuously, one after the other. Will you be able to make all 10 jumps at the same point? Difficult.
No.
Difficult, right? And that is why your customer is also giving you always some tolerance. Anytime, any item, any specification they are giving you some tolerance because they know no maintaining the same capability is no impossible. And so a tolerance he gives. And so I convert the point into an area. And now I want you to jump 10 times. Will you be able to make all 10 jumps inside the circle?
No,
Possible or not possible?
not possible.
Not possible.
With the proper practice?
Yeah, it's possible.
You can.
Possible.
With the proper practice, possible. So given having understood the requirement, you can practice yourself and then execute it. But what happens once you practice for 10 jumps, I will ask you to jump 100 times. Now again, it looks difficult. 10 times, probably in a particular time, you have understood, you have learned it and you are executing. Now I want you to jump 100 times within 30 minutes. Now it looks definitely difficult. Am I right? Now some
Yes,
of
it will
your
take
jump,
time.
yeah, it will take time, and with the current capability, some of your jumps might come outside the circle. Am I right? This will always happen. Please understand. Now I converted your 10 jumps into 100 jumps. Same way, your customer can always increase its demand. Today, you may be producing 100 units a shift. Tomorrow, you may have to produce 1,000 units a batch or a shift. And then maybe next week, you may have to produce 10,000 units a batch. As the demand increase, your capability today may not be sufficient for tomorrow. All of you are able to correlate that?
Yes.
Right? So as the demand increases, your current capability will become insufficient, right? And so some of your jumps are coming out in the yellow zone. And if the demand further increases, you might even come to the orange zone. This is called inconsistency in performance. Why inconsistency happens? Because you are repeating your process so many times. Always when you repeat your any process, you repeat so many times, no, you will start losing your capability. Please make it a point. Your long-term capability will always be smaller than your short-term capability. Am I right? Whatever you learned yesterday, you can remember better today. But when I meet you after 6 months, will you remember everything I taught you yesterday? Obviously, half of them you may forget, right? So always the long-term capability is smaller than the short-term capability. That this is what we call it inconsistency. Statistically, this is called variation. Statistically, this is called variation. What is this variation? When you come to the orange zone, your distance from the center is too high. When you come to the yellow zone, your distance from the center is definitely far away. But when you are in the inner circle, white, you are closer to the center. When you are closer to the center, variation is low. When you are away from the center, the variation is high. On an average, what is your variation? That is called standard deviation. You have made 100 jumps. All 100 times, you have some deviation. And what is the average deviation? That is called standard deviation. So, in any process, here we discussed about your jumping. But in your organization, the process could be machining, process could be casting, process could be heat treatment, many processes, right? And central tendency of your process, business process, can be understood by calculating the statistical parameter average. Sometimes we call it the mean. And similarly, the inconsistency or the variation in your business process can be understood by measuring a statistical parameter called standard deviation. Hope all of you understood the significance of the statistical parameter, average, and the standard deviation. Let me also help you with another simple example. Imagine you want to shoot a target. All of us could have played this game in in the beaches, right? We shoot the balloons. Am I right? Let us imagine you want to shoot an yellow color balloon. Now this, when you want to really shoot the target, first thing you need to do is you must hold the gun in the correct position. Am I correct or not? When you want to hit the target, the first requirement is you must hold the gun in the correct position. If you can't even hold the gun in correct position, will you be able to hit the target? Definitely no. So your average simply checks whether you hold the gun correctly or not. Your average calculated from any process data will tell you whether you hold the gun correctly or not. But holding the gun correctly doesn't mean you are hitting the target, isn't it? So whether you can hit the target repeatedly will be understood by referring to your standard deviation. All of you understand? Average tells you how do you hold your gun. Standard deviation tells you how consistently you hit the target. You're hitting 100 times. All 100 times if you hit the target, your standard deviation will be lower, right? So simply by ensuring the average and standard deviation at the desired level, you can hit the target every time you run the process. Hope it is understood, right? Then all of us have studied about standard deviation in the 7th standard itself in our school. The formula goes like this: square root of summation of x minus x bar the whole squared by n minus 1. Standard deviation tells you how close or how far the values of the data set are in relation to the mean. Imagine all your data are the same numbers. Now when you calculate standard deviation, how much value will you get? Can one of you able to make a right guess? I'm giving you 10 numbers. All 10 numbers are one and same. Now what will be the standard deviation? Can you make a guess?
Zeros.
Beautiful. It is 0. Since all numbers are one and same, you are very consistent. Am I right? If all numbers are one and same, you are highly consistent. When you are highly consistent, your standard deviation will be 0. Standard deviation gaining a value makes you inconsistent. Am I right? All of you are with me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If standard deviation is increasing from 0 to any value, your consistency is going down. You need to understand, right? And now, let us also understand about the normal distribution. All of us know normal distribution means the shape will be bell shape. Am I right? The curve will be, the curve will be bell shape. Curve will be bell shape. And imagine, see here, I have shown here a triangle, right? And this seems to be an equilateral triangle. What I do is, I draw a line in the center of the triangle. Do you all see this line? Yes or no? Yeah.
Yes,
Now
yes.
this line divides your triangle into exactly two halves. Half of the triangle on the right side, half of the triangle on the left side. This is called, symmetry. This is called what? The triangle is symmetry at the, we call it altitude or something. When I draw a line at the center, it divides the triangle into two half. And same way, I show you a bell-shaped curve. This bell-shaped curve is called what? Normally distributed curve or normal distribution. Imagine a center line here. What now you are seeing half of the normal distribution on the right side. And now I remove this portion, second half. Now other half also you are seeing. Do you see a symmetry here in the normal distribution? Right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that is one important property of normal distribution. When I draw a center line, your curve will be symmetrical about the center. The center line is nothing but your average. See here. Center line is nothing but your average. It is given, it is here represented as mu. All right? One, good. And now, for any set of data, when you have, average will divide your data into approximately 2 half. For example, now there are about 10 to 12 of you are here with me. When I measure all your height, can you tell me what could be the average height I may get? When I collect data right now, live data, what could be the average height I may get with all your height data in terms of feet?
5.
5 feet or 5.5?
5.
Oh, let me take it. Very good. So 5.5 feet is the average height. 10 of you are available. I calculated all your height. I measured all your height and I calculated the average, which is 5.5. What does it mean? I can easily understand now. Approximately half of you are having height above 5.5 feet. Am I right? Half of you will be having a height above 5.5 and other half of you will be having a height below 5.5. This is called symmetry. Your data is symmetrical about the center. This is only one property of normal distribution. And now I have, let's say there are 10 people. So I have 10 data points. Will I be able to calculate standard deviation? I can calculate. Let me say, assume the standard deviation to be 0.25. Standard deviation to be 0.25 feet. Now, from the center, look here, this is my center. From the center, I move to the right by a distance equal to 3 sigma. By a distance equal to 3 sigma. So can somebody tell me what is this point? Mu plus 3 sigma. What is your mu here? 5.5. What is 3 sigma? 0.75. So what will be this point? 6.25. Correct? 6.25. Same way, can you move to the left and find out mu minus 3 sigma? What will be this value? I want you to tell me the number. Tell me as I am writing here. 4.
75.
Very good. 4.75. Very simple. 5.5 minus 0.75. How is it helpful for me? Now I have come to the right, no, by a distance equal to 3 sigma from the center. Similarly, I have moved to the left by a distance equal to 3 sigma from the center. Now I have got 4.75 and 6.25. This simply tells me all of you who are attending my training program are having the height between 4.75 feet and 6.25 feet. Is there anybody here having a height less than 4.75 feet?
No, sir.
No. Is there anybody here having a height more than 6.25 feet?
No, sir.
Probably no. But there could be sometime one or two can attend my program with a height more than 6.25 also. And that is why we have this percentage. Can one of you read out the percentage, how much it is?
99.73%.
Very good. Always in a data normally distributed, 99.73% of your data will lie inside 3 sigma limits. What are 3 sigma limits? Mu minus 3 sigma and mu plus 3 sigma. These points are called control limits. So this is called lower control limit and this is called upper control limit. The beauty of normal distribution is you can apply your finding with your sample also. You can apply your finding to your population also. And now I want to understand about my sample. So I could see 10 people. Is that, can I understand your age group? What is your age group? What is the youngest person here? Can somebody tell me your age? Who seem to be youngest in the crowd? Tell me, or otherwise let me go with each one of you. Mr. Kulkarni, what is your age?
31.
Okay, 31. Hope there is no one below 31. If there is anyone below,
21, sir.
20.
very good. Okay, 21. 21. And who is the elder person here? What is your age?
I am 38, sir.
38.
I am 40.
Pritham is 40. And Kulkarni sir, how old you are?
47.
40. Okay. So I think the maximum age of the participant here is only 40. So our
49, sir, 49.
49.
tell me, okay, 49. So
49, sir.
very good. So now I'm going to make a statement. People in the age group of 21 to 49 in India are going to have height between 4.75 feet and 6.25 feet. If you don't believe my statement, you do an experiment. Take some random 100 people or 1,000 people in the age group of 21 to 49. You must take people from India only and see that all of them will be having a height between 4.75 feet and 6.25 feet. It looks believable.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This is the finding of Carl Friedrich Gauss, and he made it as a theory and given to us, which is called theory of normal distribution. We call it bell-shaped distribution. We call it Gaussian distribution. There are a few more properties which I will teach you slightly later on. At this level, this itself, is more for you. If you have understood, definitely, it is sounding very good at this point of time. So in a normal distribution, the center will divide the curve into two halves. Otherwise, the normal distribution curve will be symmetrical about the center, first point. And the second point all of you need to understand is 99.73% of the points will lie inside 3 sigma limit. You can use this rule to comment about your sample as well as to comment about your population, right? And the 3 sigma limits are called the process extremities. Statistically, they are called control limit. On the right side, they are called upper control limit. On the left side, they are called lower control limit. In a simple layman language, I will call the control limits as the worst outputs from your process. Do you now understand the meaning of control limit? The worst output from your process. Why I call it worst output? Because your target is here. You have deviated from the target and so much, and you are here on the right side. Similarly, you have deviated your target and then you are on the left side at this point. So these are your worst outputs, because beyond your control limit, what percentage is left out? Can somebody tell me what percentage is left out beyond your control limit? 99.73 is inside control limit. So beyond, outside your control limit, how much is there?
0.27%.
Only 0.27% of your population can lie outside control limit. It simply means in India, people in the age group of 21 to 49 may have height below 4.75 feet also, may have height above 6.25 also. But what is the probability for them? Only 0.27. You all now understand? But the majority is inside the control limit. Is that clear to all of you? Normal distribution? Definitely
Yes,
a
sir.
tough module, but if you have understood, you should be really proud about yourself. Good. And now, imagine, I want to understand the kind of people who attend my white belt training program. I have been doing this every week, and see, randomly I picked up a sample of 6 people one particular day. Their age group I have recorded. 6 people. For the age, I calculated average. Average age is how much? 38.5. What do you understand out of this? People, having an age around 38.5 prefer to attend my white belt program. Can I say like that? Am I right? So people having an average age of 38.5 generally attend my program. How do I understand? Just by taking 6 sample. Now I want to calculate standard deviation. For that, I want to calculate the deviation first. What is deviation? The distance of your point from the average. You call it x minus x bar. I have done x minus x bar. And total deviation I calculate. Total deviation is 0. When total deviation is 0, it doesn't, it actually, not allowing me to understand the variation in the data. So I don't want this variation to vanish. So I square it. So it becomes squared deviation. Now, squared deviation means minus also will become plus. Do you all understand why do I square? Because I don't square, it will cancel each other and give me 0. And it may tempt you to think like there is no deviation. Actually, there is a lot of deviation, isn't it? And so I square it and I add it. And now I want to know the average deviation. So the squared deviation I divide by 5. Sum of the squared deviation divided by 5. 5 comes from n minus 1. Where what is n? Number of data, 6. So now I understand it is 18.3. This 18.3 is called variance. 18.3 is called variance. And now, what is the unit of your data here? 39 means what? 39? 39 months or 39 years?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Years.
Yes.
So what is the unit here then? Variance is a squared value. What will be the unit here?
Means 18.
If it is centimeter here the unit will be centimeter square. If it is years, here this will be
Yes, sir.
year square. It is very difficult working with the squared unit, right? And so generally we take the square root of the variance. Take the square root of the variance, that is called standard deviation. Standard deviation will have the same unit as that of your data. Years means here also it is years. Now apply our rule. Average plus 3 sigma. How much it is? 52.6. Apply our rule. Average minus 3 sigma. How much it is? 24.4. Now, what is it telling me? It is telling me generally people in the age group of 24 and 53 can attend my program. Generally, people in the age group of 24 and 53 can attend my program. But today we have, who is that? Our Nayan Patel. Nayan Patel, what is your age?
I am 38 years old, sir.
Oh, Nayan Patel, 38, right?
Yeah.
And somebody told 21. Who is that 21 then? Who is 21?
Yes, sir.
Who is that? What's your name?
Jill.
I'm not.
Patel, sir. Jill Patel.
Oh, Jill Patel. Okay. Ah, yes, I could see now. Yes, you are there. So now Jill Patel is an outlier. Jill Patel is called what? Outlier. You know why do I call Jill as outlier? She comes from the 0.27 percentage. Am I right? All remaining of you come under 99.73. However, sometimes your process may produce outliers also. Am I right? Do you all understand? But you can always make a conclusion like this. Your population, 99.73 percentage of your population will certainly fall inside 24 and 53. This is how the knowledge and normal distribution will be helping you. We will be using this knowledge in the last 20 minutes of today's program. Any difficulty right now? Any question to me? Okay. If there are no questions,
No.
I will be asking you. Average is a measure of your central tendency or variation. What is your answer?
Central tendency.
Okay. And then standard deviation is always a positive value. Is it true or false?
True, sir.
True, sir.
True.
Very good. What proportion of points are expected to lie inside control limit? There are three options I am giving you. What proportion of points? If you have 100 points, how many points will lie inside control limits?
99.73.
Okay, very good. Hope all of you are able to answer this question. Very, very important question. It is 99.73. Now, what is control limit? What is upper control limit? Average plus 3 times sigma.
3 times sigma.
Then what is lower control limit?
Average minus 3
Six.
Average minus 3 sigma.
sigma.
Beautiful. All of you are comfortable here?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Perfect. So this knowledge we will be using definitely in the last 20 minutes, and then only you can understand the meaning of Six Sigma. Right. So moving on to another topic, customer tolerance and process tolerance. Some of you who are working in the industry, you might have heard these terms, customer tolerance and process tolerance. Customer tolerance are defined by the specification limits. Process tolerance are defined by
Within the organization, right, sir? Process.
yeah, in any organization.
Yeah.
Any organization, customer tolerance are defined by the specification limits, and process tolerance are defined by the control limits. Right? And now I'm going to help you understand the same thing using a simple video. Please do watch the video, and then I'll be asking you a few questions.